Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, on Thursday, October 17th, Wexford Local Enterprise Office will be celebrating National Women's Enterprise Day with an inspiring event in the Ferrycarrig Hotel. The ambassador for the event is Liz Morris, who runs her own successful business, DampDoctor, and Liz joins us now to preview the celebration. Liz, before we discuss National Women's Enterprise Day, remind us about DampDoctor and the service that it provides.
Good morning, Karl. Thank you very much for having me. Absolutely. So DampDoctor is a specialist diagnostics and solutions company for all things damp and mould related. DampDoctor have a very unique approach in how we deal with these problems in terms of we use the knowledge and expertise of both engineers and building surveyors to understand these problems, but ultimately to develop a plan of action then for the property owners so that they in turn can solve these problems in the long term.
And of course, you've been busy building this business across the country in recent years. So what were the factors that have contributed to DampDoctor's growth in the market?
Yeah, so I suppose the key factors that contributed to our growth certainly would be the demand for our services. There's a greater awareness and willingness, to solve any issues and problems surrounding air quality. People are more aware of the impact it can have on their health and their family's health. And now people just want to take action and deal with these problems. So in doing that, they want to understand more where it's coming from and what they can do in turn to address it. There's also a huge need for professionals that are properly trained and experienced in the area, and that's where we come in and where we have proven processes, that work.
And are there any challenges or indeed opportunities which will impact the business over the next 12 months?
Absolutely. So there's lots of opportunities that exist. We focus heavily on looking at innovation, and we work with the colleges and that as well, and to see where we can make improvements in terms of services and that, and around the whole area of air quality. So there's a huge amount of opportunities out there, and we've partnered with a lot of different entities in turn to address these and, to try and give a greater offering then to our customers. But ultimately, all of these are about, exploring how we can look at mould eradication, that as well, and ultimately to improve air quality overall. Like any business, there's always challenges in that, and I'm sure any other business owners listening will understand, the challenge that exists with, getting personnel and, getting feet on the ground in that. But, we look at ways of overcoming that, and we actually use a lot of the LEO supports that are there currently, look inward at the business and assess it. And we've done Lean that's helped us address challenges in relation to that as well. But look, there's always challenges. You just have to find a way of dealing with them, really.
As I mentioned at the start of the interview, National Women's Enterprise Day will be celebrated on October 17th. Why is this day important to you?
Yes, well, this year, Karl, I have been asked to be the ambassador for the local Wexford LEO, which was a great privilege. I was delighted to be asked.
So what does that role as the ambassador for National Women's Enterprise Day entail?
On the day, I will be part of a panel. So there are 3 ladies on the panel on the day. So we will be there, we'll have an open forum. We'll be chatting to the attendees on the day. But ultimately, the big thing is to share our own stories and our own business stories and our journeys. And, hopefully that will help some of the attendees that are there, with some issues or, some opportunities that exist for them. And, they may be able to take something home from that.
Who else will be involved in speaking on the day?
Absolutely, yes. So Deborah Cogley of Deborah Cogley Art will also be part of the panel. Deborah is a successful artist and business owner, and Deborah brings a unique perspective on balancing creativity with commercial success. It'll be very interesting to chat to Deborah on the day. Also, Anne O'Brien from MD of Kent Stainless will be there and has transformed Kent Stainless into a global powerhouse in the manufacturing industry. And also her journey, and particularly to, family businesses and that as well, would be really of interest. Hearing how, she has led the family business to international success. So there'll be a lot of lessons and in innovation and resilience, and that will certainly be spoken about on the day.
And who's emceeing the event on the day?
Yes, Mary Rose Lyons is the MC on the day, and Mary Rose is the founder of the AI Institute and the leading expert on artificial intelligence and its impact on all our lives. Mary Rose also spoke last year at the event, and such was the success of that, and she was such a great hit that she was invited to come back again this year, as AI, as we all know, is such a hot topic, and it really can, it can be a massively useful tool for all businesses when used correctly. So the key is to find out, how it suits your business and how it fits with it. So certainly Mary Rose will be able to share some of her insights to the attendees on the day also on that.
And while there'll be huge value from the contributions from the speakers on the day, there will be as much value from the networking.
Yeah, absolutely. Networking is, it's a really important activity for any business. So there's an opportunity at the beginning. There's a networking opportunity at 8:30 that morning to get chatting to, to all the attendees in that as well. So certainly anybody who is, interested in going to have a look and see who's attending and, maybe make a plan of who they'd like to speak to on the day.
In general, what are the challenges that female entrepreneurs encounter that their male counterparts do not have to experience?
Yes, well, absolutely. There's obviously the gender gap pay divide is an ongoing issue. But thankfully, there's a lot of work being done on this at the moment and, to try and close it in somewhat. Currently, we rank about 12th out of the 33 OECD countries. So, it is something that as part of the sustainability and B Corps and all that that's been addressed. So there's a huge amount of work done in relation to it, but there's still a lot to do. And also, when we look at the numbers of women at leadership level in businesses as well, it's quite startling when you look at, the percentages that come in. So, LinkedIn done a survey on it recently and something like 46 women at percentage at entrance point, and that has fallen down to a leadership level, around the 30% mark. So it falls off dramatically. There's lots of different things being done, again, to try and address this, and also, to set compulsory percentages required for boards. And the espoused is going to be, 40% in the next few years to be represented at board level. So there's a lot of positive steps. But ultimately, the focus needs to be maintained to achieve this, ultimately, because we're not there yet.
In addition to setting those targets, what else do you think needs to be done in order to increase the levels of female entrepreneurship here in Ireland?
Well, thankfully, there's a lot of supports. The LEO have a really important incentive or strategy that they're working towards for 2025. And, that's about, driving the number of female entrepreneurs in Ireland as well. So, that's hugely important. Without the supports, it's much more difficult for it to happen.
And Liz, who are the female entrepreneurs that have inspired you along your journey?
I would have to say Louise Phelan. Louise set up PayPal in Ireland. She's also on the board of Ryanair, Kingspan and GE. She's also an angel investor. And she's one of the leads on the Going for Growth. And Louise is hugely inspiring, but I suppose over everything, she's extremely practical, and she breaks everything down. And no matter what size the business is, small, medium or large, she can add great insight into it. And also, with all of that going on, she still has time for voluntary work, and she's hugely committed to all of this. So that's a great trait, and she really gives back a lot. There's so many female entrepreneurs, and it is growing, and their stories and how they share their stories, and also their willingness to give back and help others is really admirable.
That's very encouraging. And finally, Liz, if any of our listeners would like to attend the National Women's Enterprise Day event on Thursday, October 17th in the Ferry Carrick Hotel, what do they need to do?
So tickets are on sale. They are selling out fast, so I would certainly encourage anybody interested in going to get your hands on your tickets now. They're €30 each, and you can log on to then www.localenterprise.ie/Wexford to get your tickets before they're sold out.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Liz Morris from DampDoctor and also the ambassador for the National Women's Enterprise Day here in Wexford. And I would certainly encourage our listeners to join the celebrations on October 17th in the Ferry Carrick Hotel.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.